Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be walking through 6 different garments that I have upcycled. I have gotten a lot of requests to talk about how I upcycle my clothes, where I get my clothes, what are my tricks, what are my tips for doing this, especially as somebody that has no history in fashion. I don't know how to sew really, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I wanted to make this video and walk through 6 different pieces with you all and show you, inspire you to come at your own unused clothing in a creative way, and maybe just give you guys some ideas to help you guys get started doing this yourself. Upcycling, to me, my old clothing not only feels good so that I don't have to throw away a lot of these things that the garments are constructed of. Finding a new purpose in them makes me feel better as a person, like I'm living a more sustainable lifestyle, but also it's one of those unique moments where you don't have to spend more money to have a garment made for you and tailored to your body, and I think that's priceless. Every garment that you're gonna see are measured to me and based off of my own clothes that fit me, and they're all designed by me, one way through, just trying to problem solve with the garments or through just innovation and creativity. So I think there's nothing more gratifying than that. Yeah, again, you get to have something that's entirely unique to you. You are your own personal tailor, your own personal designer. So I'm gonna go through those garments with you now. Number 1. Okay, so this is the most recent one. So this dress is one of my absolute favorites that I have made. I feel like you always feel that way whenever you make a new garment, whenever you upcycle a new garment, it becomes like your new favorite. But this one is definitely gonna be my favorite for a long time because it is extremely wearable. And whereas I have created what I call nightclub dresses, which are not something I can wear in the everyday because they can be very skimpy. But this dress definitely is not one of those. So this dress is constructed out of 2 t-shirts. One of them is a Vans Warped Tour band tee from it's from the band Miss May I, and it has that great graphic, stay metal with the puppy on it, and it has this black letter font on the front, which originally, whenever I had designed this dress and put everything together, I wanted the stay metal to be on the front, right? Because that's kind of the most eye-catching thing about the top shirt, and it's why I bought the shirt in the first place. But when I turned it around, I liked how simple it was, just having the black letter font on my hips. I just really liked that a lot more. And it reminded me kind of a lot of the more brands that are coming out, like a Praying and Catholic core, and this dress is all white and it's long, it's meant to be a gown. It's one of these many t-shirt gowns that I would like to do in the next year, but I loved how it was just all white, and I had to finesse this fabric, like you're going to realize later when I talk about more of the other garments. You really have to get creative because sometimes you don't have enough fabric to achieve your vision, so you have to really, really use everything that you've got and problem solve along the way. So this whole top is the shirt, and it is just tailored to me, to fit to me, because this is a men's tank top. So I just literally cut into the sides of the top so that it would fit me. It'd be fitted up top, and then the bottom is made out of a huge extra large white t-shirt that I got at Joann Fabrics. And in high school, this is from high school, this garment, I had used some kind of 3D paint or something to write some saying on it. And because it was a big shirt and it was all white, I wanted to hopefully cut out the saying altogether, but I needed the space, I needed the fabric in order to execute the skirt. So what I ended up doing was putting the lettering and everything on the side, and I still didn't like seeing the red coming through it, so I took, this is again where you just use what you have. I took the pieces of the collar that I wasn't using, that I had cut off to create the skirt, and I just sewed them like redacted lines over top of the words, and that became part of the design. Again, not intentional, and like this happens all the time. When you use what you have and you get creative, like the form and the beauty of the garment comes from your circumstances and how you have to make it. And then I thought it was kind of clever because there was space left from the sleeves, and I just ended up cutting the sleeves open, and it provided like a little space for my leg to pop through, almost like a slit, but it's just made out of the enlarged sleeves of the extra large t-shirt. But I adore this dress. That's how this was made. Literally just sewing two pieces together, like two shirts together, you know, cutting off the top part that you don't need so that it will fit seamlessly with the rest, obviously. And, you know, seams are like still unfinished and everything. I adore this dress. I love the way it looks so much. The only issue is this is kind of a blessing and a curse whenever you're using t-shirts to make garments. Because they're cotton, they will slacken and they will lose their shape, and they'll stretch out. So garments like this, whenever they're fitted even, they will lose their shape and they won't be as form-fitting, so you have to wash them a lot so that they go back to their original shape. That's the only downside of that. Because I noticed whenever I had originally done this, like the dress would start to like sag farther down my body, and like the Miss May I in front would like go down towards like my lower crotch and like my legs rather than higher up. So that's something to just consider that I have learned. All right, next is going to be the Vegas dress. This dress, if you've been following me for a while, then you'll have seen this dress already, but I have never really talked about it at length. So, this dress is made of one shirt. The same type of shape that like typical like skater boy band tank top shirt is. So it's oversized, and whenever I bought it, you can see it's like from Zoomies. It has like the All True Apparel logo on the inside. This shirt, for obvious reasons, I got this shirt. I mean, it has the coolest stained glass Virgin Mary Christ icon on it, on the front and the back. And even whenever I got it, I got this a long time ago. Long time ago, like 12 years ago, maybe. When I got this, I knew I would never get rid of it, and that somehow, even before I thought about upcycling, before I even became excited about that prospect, I was like, I'm gonna figure out what to do with this. It isn't flattering on me now, but I'm going to make it into something that will be flattering in the future. And it is. I did what I absolutely could with it, and nothing was spared in the making of this. And things had to be added to make it as well. But it is only the shirt. So like to make a more flattering shape on me, I used the back of the tank top because it's higher up and that's just more flattering for my physique. And then the rest of the shirt is pulled lower on the back. It's like a backless dress, and I put it lower down so that it would cover my butt. Otherwise, it was very, very short. It's very short in the front, but it could not be that short in the back. So I had to pull it all the way down that way. And so that I wouldn't not get that great little baby Jesus on my butt. Yeah, I had to like change the direction of it so that I could make it into a dress. I had to reuse some of like the piping in order to make the straps in the back, which are adjustable because they're just knotted. I had to add some straps from like other garments to make this garment possible. I had to reattach a hem on the bottom because it was a bit messy. I reattached the hem from another part of this tank top, and which I never thought I would be able to succeed in doing this, but I managed to like reattach this hem without fucking up. Don't know how I did that, but you can even see like I did like these jagged like movements with the sewing machine, and I was just praying that it was gonna come out right. And the last thing that I did was I had this like raw edge at my lower back, which I didn't really like. So I took inspiration from a Helmut Lang top that I used to have, and it was a it was a draped top. And so it had a heavy piece of like metal that was enclosed in a little piece of fabric that weighed the garment down to give that draped effect. And I took inspiration from that, and I allowed that to pull the garment down in the back where my lower back is. So there's just a dime in here that's like holding it in place. This is definitely one of those dresses where you have to be like perfectly in the right place all the time, gotta like bend over in a certain way. But this was the first dress that I ever really upcycled and constructed and had to work on it for a long time. And I put it away for a long time because there were design problems with it. So it took months to actually be finished. I think I started it in like maybe late October, and then because I was supposed to wear it in Las Vegas to a nightclub, and I didn't finish it until maybe March or April of the following year. But that is the Vegas dress. Someone's car alarm is going off right now. No! This is the most recent dress that I have done, and you probably saw about half of it in one of my most recent videos. So this dress is a very good example of something that you've had for a long time in your life, something very loved, and yet it became old and used to you. And I have such a thing for fabric. You know, at the end of the day, it's not even like, half the time I buy a garment, it's not even because of the garment itself, but what it's made of and like how it lays on my skin and the effect that it has in the light. I think about that a lot. And so to me, I look at a lot of my clothes as something that can still be transformed into something else, because I just think the fabric is a work of art. And that's the case for these pants, this dress. These were crushed velvet pants from Urban Outfitters. And then I had worn them for like 10 years. Up until now, I've had them because they've just been such a staple in my wardrobe. I just kind of got sick of wearing them as pants. They started to look kind of worn and a little bit cheap to me. And so I was like, well, I'm certainly not gonna get rid of these. I'm gonna do something about it. And I was like, there's so much fabric here. There's so much that you can do with just pants, the amount of fabric that goes into pants. And originally when I made this, I had the ideas for this dress. I wanted to do, because I liked this kind of like rotting gold, almost brassy color. With this, I used the crotch as inspiration. Because I just cut, basically you deconstruct the garment and you just end up cutting along the lines that it's sewn on. And I was like, oh, I bet that would be like a great like bateau neck on me. I bet that would look very flattering. And that's another thing that happens whenever you're deconstructing garments or you're making things out of what you have, is you look at a line or a curve and you're like, oh, that might work well on me. And then you just run with it. And then an entirely new design is born from that. So I took that as inspiration to start the garment. And you can just see like two sides are just put together. There was almost no like trimmings or anything left. I pretty much used all of the fabric, and it ended up being like a very romantic neckline, and it came down just the right amount, and I could like pull it up whenever I wore it a little bit and let it cinch on my hips and my waist. And then, just another surprise, the seams ended up being like a part of the design and like what made the dress unique. So you can purposefully see the seams going up and down, and in the on the neckline. And then of course, it's not just one garment anymore, it's two. So I can turn it inside out and I can wear it as a different dress, one that I could probably like go out to dinner in, and it still has that beautiful like gold crushed metallic like sheen to it. But even funnier, like because I'm lazy, because I don't know how to make garments, I don't sew hems, I don't do seams, so like really we're just like dealing with two pieces of fabric like put up together, and I'm just sewing, and then I don't really do much after that. But that, again, becomes part of the design of the dress. So you have these kind of like little gills on the side of the dress that are showing the opposite side of the fabric. And it looks kind of, reminds me a little bit of like Loewe. But so now I have 2 dresses for 2 different occasions, all from a pair of pants that I've had for like 10 years. Okay, this one was tough. This one was interesting. So this dress was made out of a sweater, a long line sweater from Topshop, if you guys are familiar with that brand. But this is from Topman, which is like the menswear version. But so this, again, it was the fabric that I fell in love with. How do you not fall in love with that? I mean, like, that is the most beautiful acid like splatter I've ever seen. And then it's on knitwear too. I was going through a phase in my life where when I bought this, I really loved wearing clothes, like looser fitting clothes and like menswear, and incorporating that into my wardrobe. But nowadays I like to dress more effeminate. So I was about to give this to a friend of mine, to a coworker, and then I saw it on them, and then I was like, nope, I'm gonna figure out. I did him so dirty. I was gonna give him to him, and then I ended up taking it for myself and deciding I wanted to make a dress out of it because I saw possibilities. So this dress is crazy because it has like, a window in the back, like an eyelid in the back, and like the front has like ties, but I had to do some finagling with this. This is another example of using every part of a garment and using it as inspiration, because the garment was long and it was obviously bigger than me, so I had to cut it down to fit me. And when I cut it down, I had all this extra fabric on the sides that I could use later, which would eventually become the part that ties in the front. And the eyelid in the back, like, I had to do some wild sewing. Like, I'm glad that you can't see the sewing on this because it is a mess trying to put this all together. It's so hard to explain. I'm like trying to remap how I did this. So I basically dropped the neckline of this dress, of this top, to right about here, and then like I cut the sleeves off and then reattached them onto this neckline so that it would be lower and not higher. And so I had all this extra fabric left up top for where like the shoulders would be, and so I connected them together in the back so that they would become like, so that it would hold the dress up. And so the sleeves ended up being shorter, and I ended up having a window in the back. But like attaching that to the dress was hard. I really don't know how I did that, but this was a difficult dress to make, but it was rewarding all the way through. I adored this dress, but yeah, this was all problem solving. This was all figuring it out. But what's cool too is it's very instant gratification with some of these dresses because I do them in like an evening. It's very in tune with how fashion students and even like people like my mom and stuff, like way back when, that would make garments out of shit like curtains, and they would make a garment that would last just one evening at the nightclub. You'd make it for that night and that night only. So it's very much in vain for that kind of thing. Like, use what you have. If it falls apart the next day, at least you had a look for that day. Hopefully, though, I'm looking for longevity with my garments, but yeah, very much in that spirit. This dress. This is another more recent one. So I don't know if anybody has seen me in this. Maybe on the Les Deux Fantomes Instagram, but so this dress was made out of one giant t-shirt. One huge t-shirt from a restaurant that I used to work at. But it is, and I just liked it. It reminded me of my trashy aesthetic. It reminded me of Quentin Tarantino, of course, classic diner colors and stuff. And I had all this fabric. Again, this was one of these garments that was just sitting around and nobody was buying it because it was a larger size. So I just took it home and I was like, I'm gonna make a dress out of it. I wanted to be able to use the whole t-shirt for the whole dress, but I didn't have, as you can tell, I didn't have enough fabric. But I used every little bit. There's like panels and panels of like extra fabric that I ended up being able to use, but I was still missing just this much. And so I had this tank top, a Jägermeister tank top that I thrifted years ago that was really worn and like it was like really stretched out, and I just didn't like it on me anymore. And I was like, all right, that. I liked the font on here. I thought it made sense with the rest of the dress. And so I very carefully inserted it into this. And it was difficult for me because I don't know what I'm doing. So what probably would have been a simple solution for a fashion student was actually a very difficult process for me to insert this in there. I'm sure there was an easier way for me to do this, but again, you figure it out. You're like, oh, I can sew a line. I can put these together somehow. And I had to redo it, I think 3 times in order to get this in here, to be able to pattern this dress. It is one of my favorites. Can wear it anytime, full coverage, and it's weird. That's what I love about it. Last but not least is another nightclub dress. This dress was made like a year ago, and the sweater that it is made of I have had for many, many years and have really liked, but it's always been too big for me. But again, I was totally smitten with the knit. I loved the composition of this knit and like the ribbing, and I fell in love with the fabric more than the actual garment, and it made me never wear it because of this problem that it was too big. So one day I was like, let's make a Halston-esque nightclub dress. And what I did, this dress did not take very, very long at all. I dropped down just below the bust, and the rest down, and I dropped it down so that it would be like at my waist. And then I took the sleeves of the garment, which what you see here that has created this like bustier like neckline is actually the shoulder, the top part here of the sleeve. And that's where this awesome stripe comes in, and it like folds in here too. But this is literally the sleeve. Like the entire thing that's covering my breasts are made of sleeves. And then they come again together, like the bottom part of the sleeve comes together at the top and has this beautiful design here too. But yeah, I just sewed them onto the rest of the torso of the sweater. It's back out. It's all back out because no fabric. I had no fabric for it. And then I just tailored the back to come in a little bit more towards the top. So I like tapered it so that it would be more form-fitting. And then I sewed like a little hem so that it wouldn't fray out too bad. And of course I put it lower on the back so that it would cover my butt instead of be too short. And I left the seams raw, and I've worn it with a sweater and thigh highs. I've worn it with heels to a club. I adore this dress. It's definitely one of those dresses that you gotta be careful going out into public with because, you know, there's a lot of side boob action. But it works, and it has worked for me. All of these dresses, everything that I have created is tried and true. It doesn't just work in theory. I have worn them out, 2 nightclubs, 2 parties, to work, and they have not failed me. Though they do, a lot of these kinds of garments, especially with the fabrics that I was using, they do require adjustment a lot of the time. Or you have to like wash them so that they shrink back to the original size because they're not meant to be stretched out and worn form fitting. All of these dresses are, I have found a new use in them, and they are unique. And I get compliments on them all the time. You know, people say really sweet things, and I think that there's a lot of honor and like pride that comes with that whenever people come up to you and they're just like, oh my god, where did you get that? And then you just say, I made it. There's no greater joy than that. Those are 6 garments that I have completely and totally upcycled, that I have with very little knowledge, been able to make into sweet ass pieces of clothing that I wear regularly and that I'm proud of. And I can live another day knowing that I didn't have to go out and purchase some cookie cutter thing out on the market, or even just purchase anything at all. I could just work with what I had. And so in the next video, I'm probably going to be showing you guys a step-for-step guide on some new pieces that I'm going to be working on, specifically this like actual t-shirt gown that I want to do, because I have like this box of t-shirts from high school that are just awful. And I want to use the fabric because there's so much of it, and purchasing any type of fabric in large quantities is expensive. So I want to be able to use the fact that I am fortunate enough to have all these t-shirts, and that I can make a long length gown out of them and just change how they look, turn them inside out. I could maybe use them for other details or a more flowy silhouette because I have more fabric to work with. I'm going to dye them. I'm going to be doing stuff with them. So I want to show you guys a more step-by-step guide of how I'm doing that. It's hard to show the creative process on camera, to be fair, but hopefully I can do it well for you all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it inspiring and beautiful. I hope that this encourages you guys to look at your own pieces, look through your closet again, and see possibilities there where there were none before, and where you might have just wanted to do the easy thing and maybe you just wanted to donate it or throw it out, but instead you put two and two together and you're like, okay, I can work with this. I hope it makes you think twice about what you have and get creative and make something entirely unique to you. Find novelty in something that you already have, because it's a very fulfilling feeling. It's very gratifying. Please do not forget to like and subscribe as always. Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.